Hello, my name's Mel, welcome back to another video. Now for those of you that are new here, I'm currently turning this Mercedes Vario into a luxurious overlander. Now no luxurious overlander would be complete without a luxury shower, so today I'm going to try and build some kind of shower tray so that I can have a luxurious shower in this overlander.
Well, I've just been looking at some showers.
Hello Becky.
Hello.
Becky everybody, what have you been doing?
We're just looking at some antique brass looking steampunk showers.
Oh,
and I've just found
look
one.
at that.
Looks alright. It's got the shower head, it's got the fixed extra bidet. There you go. That looks quite cool.
That is very cool.
So, do you want to give that one a go?
Yeah.
Or do you want to look at something better quality?
I'm sold.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That looks
definitely.
okay, steampunky?
It's very steampunky.
Yeah.
We're going for like an oceanic steampunky type look on the interior. Is that right?
Yeah, with some nice like shaker kind of Scandi looking ply as well. So it's a mix and a fusion between the two. Very much like a luxurious yacht or a marine.
Yeah, a steampunky yachtish feel. That's
but
what
not
we're going
like
for.
overly themed.
That's what I'm saying, oceanic.
Oceanic, yeah. We're going to go back to the Titanic.
Titanic, that's it.
Jack
We're
and
going
Rose
for the
forever.
Titanic look.
Right, I'm going to go and order this then.
Go spend some money and I'll make a shower tray. Now for the shower tray, I'm actually going to use some leftover phonic ply or phenolic ply. Thank you, Becky. Because this stuff is guaranteed to stay waterproof for at least 50 years. And the size of the tray is going to be 1 metre by 700. Because the one thing I really don't want is a small shower cubicle where you're all tight and snug. I want the freedom to move around. Plus, the toilet is going to be inside this shower cubicle as well. Right, let's cut a piece of this ply and then we can get a real idea of how big this shower is going to be. So there it is. This is the size of our shower tray. Like I said earlier, it is a standard size for a domestic shower, so plenty of room. None of that being confined inside the little tiny cupboard. We don't want that. Now, because the position of my shower is directly above my fuel tank in my van, it means I cannot drain my shower straight through the floor like you would in a traditional camper van, motorhome or RV. So I need to use a waste trap like this that diverts the waste off away from my fuel tank and then down through the floor into my grey water tank. The problem with this is it means my shower tray's actually got to be raised off of the floor by quite a substantial amount. So I'm going to put these timbers on the floor in my van and then put the shower tray or this piece of phonic ply on top of this, and that gives me an indication of how much headroom I've got. I'm really worried I'm not going to be able to stand up in the shower. I have to be hunched over, and to me that's not luxurious. So let's see how this works out. Oh, got my hat on. Let's take my hat off. I'm actually hitting the ceiling. Oh, hang on. I've still got my boots on. Let's take my boots off. Because, yeah, you don't shower with your boots on after all. Oh, yeah, there you go. I can stand up straight. I've literally got about a ½ inch to spare. Well, it's not ideal, but I can stand. I can, lather myself up. It's good enough for me. Thank goodness. Right, let's make myself a shower. Well, it's now a couple of days later. A lot of head scratching's been going on. I've done a little bit of research. I'm happy with the kitchen. I'm happy with the position of the shower, and I've decided to actually build this shower cubicle like you would a wet room. It's going to be really simple to do, easy to follow along, hopefully for your benefit as well as mine, because I want to remember how I've done this. And I've already put up one piece of 12mm ply. The reason I use 12mm ply is so that it's nice and rigid, and it's going to make the walls nice and strong to hopefully combat any flexing. After all, I don't want any tears to occur once I've tanked it and lined it. Hopefully it will stop any movement and preventing any leaks. My shower tray is still a bit of phonic ply. I've done nothing more than cut out a rough size. Once I've built this wall here, I will then cut the shower tray to suit and fit into that corner. And then I'll build this wall, and in the front, hopefully boxing it all in. And then once I've done all of that, I can then apply tanking and so on and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to do is finish off building this wall. Wish me luck. So I was just using this to make it nice and level. There you go, that's our first battening. Gotta say, I'm absolutely loving pocket holes at the moment. Well, I've got my very first problem. I've just noticed that this wall is going to be right next to the max fan, which is okay. I mean, it's kind of okay, but here's the thing. When it comes to fitting the strengthening post up against this, it's going to overlap my max fan. I can't have that. So I've only got one choice. That's to make this wall slightly smaller this way, so that brings this where that is now. Which means I've got to cut that much off of every one of these, bringing this whole structure that far forward. Damn. Well, there you go, that's my studded wall finish. As you can see, it is quite far back now, but that means I've got plenty of room. I'll just demonstrate. So imagine this is the post that's eventually going to go up here. I'm going to use 5.5mm ply. So once that's up like that, you can see there's plenty of room there. Well, just about anyway. But I had no choice but to move this back in, which means my shower tray is going to be 45mm narrower than I originally anticipated. But that's okay, because look at this. I've still got loads of room in here. It's plenty wide enough. I'm still going to be able to get my elbows in there and all that good stuff. When you plaster a wall, it's plastering, isn't it? When you build a wall out of ply, is there a word for it?
Ply lining.
Ply lining. Thank you, Becky. There you go. After I've had some lunch, I want to get ply lining. I'll see you then. Well, I've managed to scrub this wall in. You'll notice down this edge it fits absolutely perfect up against this wall, and I've used some really strong adhesive as well to make sure that there is no movement between these two panels, because this is the place, if it's going to crack, it's going to crack in this corner, especially if you lean up against this wall when you're having a shower. It fits nice and flush down this post, but you'll notice there is no top to this. That's because try as hard as I possibly could to try and make a template and get this wall up in one piece. It proved pretty stressful. My anxiety levels were through the roof. So I decided to simply do it in 2 parts. So now I've got this panel. What I've got to do is slide that panel in there, and then multitude of screws along here as well and around this to stop this part moving. And at the end of the day, I'm going to use tanking on this. It's all going to be tanked and sealed. So I thought, why not just do it in 2 parts and make it a little bit easier on myself? Yeah, because not only have I got this angle to deal with, I've had this step to deal with, and also the ceiling isn't perfectly square either. This ceiling actually does arc slightly. But as you can see, doing it in 2 parts, I think it works out really well. Now I'm gluing this as well as screwing it, which is something I don't usually do. But because I really want this to be as strong as possible, I am actually going to use glue as well. So these pieces of timber are going to simply be pocket hole screwed down to the floor of my van, and on top of these is going to rest my homemade shower tray. Got a few of these to fit, so I'm going to jump straight into it. Well, I finally got all the battens fixed down and screwed to the floor. They're not going anywhere. But before I put the actual shower tray on top of here, I thought I'd just show you what's going on underneath the shower tray. You can see here now, I've run the hot and cold feed pipes here, and the feed for these pipes will be teed off of the feed that is going to the sink, and my shower waste will sit around about here. Now this grey pipe at the back here is actually going to house the cables that I'm going to run from my engine battery to my power pack at the back of the van. I just thought this would make it a lot neater and a lot safer to run those high ampage cables through this conduit rather than risking it rattling around and rubbing against any wooden components. Now I've had a lot of questions about the power pack I'm using in this van, so let's jump in the back and I'll answer some of those questions now. Now, like I was just saying, because I've had so many questions about the power pack that I'm using in this van, I will answer a few questions. So I'm using the Bluetti AC300 along with the B300 battery. And there's a few reasons why I chose to use this. One of those is that it does have a built-in MPPT charge controller. Well, in fact, it has 2 charge controllers built into this. One of those is going to be connected to the solar panels on my roof, and the other one is going to be connected to my alternator via a voltage sensing relay. So when I drive my van, the alternator is going to be charging my Bluetti, and at the same time, as long as it's a sunny day, the solar panels will be charging the Bluetti at the same time, meaning it will charge really fast. And also, just like its smaller cousin, the AC200 Max that I have in my Sprinter, this also has a 30 amp 12 volt outlet, which means I can just simply put a fuse box here and run all of my 12 volts in my van off of the Bluetti AC300. And the other great feature that I'm really excited to try and experiment with, because if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know I do like to experiment. This actually has a 24 volt outlet, which is 10 amps. And I'm hoping, using this 24 volt outlet, I can actually charge a separate lithium battery bank, which means not only will I have the Bluetti in my van, I'll also have a separate bank of lithium batteries. And this is just purely experimental. I'll save that for another video. But there you are, that's the main reason I'm using the AC300 in my van. Now, a lot of people often comment on these saying that they're overpriced and they're too expensive. Well, when you think about, if somebody hasn't got the confidence to fit their own electrics, they not only have to buy all the separate components, but they then have to pay someone to fit those components. That's another reason I'm so enthusiastic about these, and I'm trying to do as many experiments with these power packs as I possibly can. That way I can pass my findings on to you guys. So by actually using these power packs in my vans, I can speak from experience. And so far I've got nothing bad to say about the Bluetti AC200 Max that I'm using in my Sprinter, and that's another reason I've decided to use the AC300 in my Vario. Now, because I knew I'd be talking about Bluettis in today's video, I had a quick check on their website to check out their latest prices, and I was staggered to see they've got a 46% discount going on at the moment, and on the 31st of January they're having a Prime Day, which makes them even cheaper. And this whole unit, the unit plus the battery, is going to be less than £2,000. So if you're interested in looking at Bluettis and doing your own research, I will leave a link in the description of this video, purely for your convenience. Now, I do hope that answers some of your questions. Now I can get back to building my shower. So here's my way of thinking, right? If I have the waste trap under there like that, really close to the wall, the piece of ply that's going to be coming along here is going to be really bendy and flexible. So I want the waste trap far enough away from the wall that this piece of ply bridging this gap has still got a bit of substantial strength to it. So all I need to do now is make sure I make a hole in the phonic ply exactly that place. Now it hasn't got to be to the millimetre, so I think the best thing for me to do is get a set square. Mark here on the wall, and then this way round like that. Now we should be able to triangulate exactly where the centre of that is when I put my piece of phonic ply down. So I'll put my piece of phonic ply down. So now I'll put this back where the mark was. You can see the mark there, so I know it's going to be about there, like that. Put this in, that. There you go, X marks the spot. Now one thing I noticed when cutting out these practice pieces is that when I use this hole saw, as I drill through, it makes a really nice cut on the surface, but as this goes through the other side, it really does rip it out and make a terrible mess. So I thought to myself, rather than drill down into my phonic ply from the top, I'm going to actually drill a pilot hole where the X marks the spot and then drill up from underneath. That way when it rips out, or if there is any rip out, it doesn't matter because that top surface I'm going to be removing when I go round it with the router. My upside. This is the seal on this is actually on this face here, so this needs to go down onto the phonic ply and actually seal. This ring on the top isn't the sealing surface, it's the underneath. That's why I want the underneath surface not to be ripped, and to be nice and clean. I want a nice clean cut on the underside. Let's go ahead and see how this goes. Yeah, I think I made the right choice putting that hole there. Yeah, that's not going to flex at all there. So all that's left for me to do now is actually glue this in place, and this is going to be glued. It is going to be permanent. That's why I was so finicky about getting it right. I ain't going nowhere once this is glued in place. Now before I do seal this phonic ply down and use it as a shower tray, I'm going to re-seal these edges with special phonic paint. And when this stuff dries, it does kind of dry with a rubbery texture, and it really does help seal those edges. That's why I'm going to take care and make sure I actually do this. I'm going to give this a couple of coats as well, just to protect it and seal it from any moisture that might work its way down in there, just in case. I'm not anticipating any moisture getting down into this, but you never know, because I'm going to be tanking this entire unit and also sealing it in the usual manner. But I'd rather do this to be safe than sorry. Well, the phonic ply is dry, so let's glue it down. I'm going to start by going all around the edges, because this is the important part. Letting it be a lot easier. You can see that glue is starting to expand already. It's turning white. Let's put it down. Let's put it in place. That is it. That's our phonic ply glued down. Now, like I said, this bit of ply does kind of curve in the middle, so I'm going to put something really heavy on top of this, just to make sure that curve is no more. It's one AGM battery. Oh, blimey. I'll take these gloves off, I nearly slipped out my hands. So there you go, all I've got to do now is wait for this glue to dry, and whilst it's drying I'm going to edit this video and upload it for your viewing pleasure, and I'll see you again when I come to finish off the rest of this shower cubicle. Thanks for watching, ta-ra for now.